Sexualized violence, I would say, is any situation in which someone is put into a position where they're uncomfortable.
So sexual assault is any unwanted sexual contact.
It's more of an act of power than about sex itself.
Where you're trying to exhibit power over somebody in like a kind of sexual context.
Unwanted aggression, whether it's mental or physical, of a sexualized nature, from one human to another, regardless of their gender or preference.
One person being forced into a sexual situation against their will.
Yeah, it has to be between both parties. It can't be one person being into it and the other person,
Mutual consent is when both people agree to engage in any sort of contact.
Hey Ryan, want to go to a movie tonight? I would love to. I would too. Mutual consent.
Verbal. It has to be spoken. It can't just be a head nod or a thumbs up or something like that. You gotta get the yes.
Real verbal consent is legitimately asking the question with no pressure and being okay with getting yes or no.
Instead of using body language, what somebody like would say that body language is a form, verbal is just actually expressing it in words.
It's got to be outgoing. It's got to be affirming that that's what they actually want to do.
Yeah! I'm totally into this right now. Oh yeah!
That's enthusiasm.
Enthusiastic consent is basically to try to counter this idea that a lack of a no is a yes.
It's the responsibility of the initiator to get consent.
That essentially means that the person who proposes an idea or proposes a sexual act, it's on them to make sure consent remains present.
It's their responsibility to make sure that the other party is feeling okay and feeling comfortable.
Consent at every stage essentially means to initiate any activity or change to any activity, consent has to be reaffirmed.
It's good to have this evolution when you're being intimate.
I want to take it to the next level. I want to say, Greg, do you want to go home with me? I can't just get up and walk out of the club and take Greg with me because he's holding my hand so I can just drag him.
And then maybe you want to get a kiss in there. You gotta ask for that. You can't just go for it. Make sure that everyone involved is into it.
You gotta get consent the whole way.
Basically, if someone is drunk or high, they cannot give consent. That's what the court says. That's how the law works. If someone's too drunk to drive, they're too drunk to consent to sex.
Well, I mean, if I can't sign a contract when I'm drunk, how am I supposed to consent to having sex when I'm drunk?
Any sort of inebriation, I would say.
Good rule is if you're unsure, don't do it.
Silence
does not equal consent.
Silence does not equal consent.
Silence does not equal consent.
UVic, let's get consensual.
UVic, let's get consensual.
UVic, let's get consensual.